Okay, we're going to start this one with needing some white chalk paint, and I'm using Rust-Oleum Linen White. I've got this little block here. Let's see if it tells me it's a 3.15 by 3.94 inch piece of board. It's funny, it already says Happy Easter. I gotten this from Hobby Lobby on clearance. It was $1.99, but I got it for like 75% off, so I couldn't pass it by. I was like, I'm just going to redo that. And I'm going to start by painting this whole thing in this white. Okay, and then the next thing is I've got an image here that I had printed off of Creative Fabrica. It's like under Vintage Bunnies, if you want to go to Creative Fabrica and look it up. And I am going to be Mod Podging, and yes, I know I'm cutting off his ears, and there is a reason behind that. And I'm just folding it there and creasing it. And I am going to be using my mini heat press to help with this Mod Podge situation. And the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and put a layer of Mod Podge on the top. And then with the assistance of my heat gun, I'm just going to dry that down. I'm just going to take this image and line it up where I want it and lay it over the Mod Podge. Then I'm just going to take some parchment paper, and I just picked this up at the Dollar Tree, and lay that on top. And then use the heat press and press it on, just reactivating that Mod Podge. And then I just always like to go over it with my brayer just to make sure I've got all the bubbles out. All right, and I'm going to let that cool down because it's pretty hot. Okay, and then once that is dried down, we're just going to sand off the edges. Go in a downward motion. And then I'm just going to go over the image with a layer of Mod Podge, but I'm going to try to avoid going over it too many times, otherwise that image will bleed. All right, we're just going to let that dry. And I have some of this jute wire cord that I picked up from the Dollar Tree, and we are just going to make some little rabbit ears with it. And to do that, all we're going to do is bend over one end, meeting up with the other end, and then I'm just going to take some pliers and I'm just going to twist it. And you just want to make sure that end that you folded over is what you're twisting around the other end. I hope that makes sense, but you can see what I'm doing here. And then we're just going to trim that off. And then to make the other ear, I am just going to use that first one as a guide, making sure that they're the same size. And then I'm just going to repeat that process of twisting the one end around the other. And when you trim it off, you want to make sure that you're leaving a little bit of length to it. Okay, and then the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to drill some holes so we can put this down in. But first I'm going to go ahead and put some glue around the ends. That way that twine doesn't unravel. I have a 5/32 drill bit. I'm going to try that first. I think it might be too small, but I'd rather it be too small than I can always upsize. Guess I'm going to a 1/4 inch. Okay, yes, a 1/4 inch will work just fine. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put some hot glue down these holes, and then I'm going to put the ear in that hole, pushing it down firmly. And per usual, I'm just going to burn off some of those flyaway hairs. Isn't that cute? Oh my goodness. All right, and I feel like it's going to need something else. So I'm going to do a little bit of distressing around these edges. I'm just going to take some antiquing wax by Waverly, a paper towel, so I can wipe that off. I'm just going to go around the edges, just kind of distress it up a little bit. Oh yeah, that looks better. All right, I've got some raffia and some even finer shredded type of raffia. I don't even know what it's called, to be honest with you. And I'm just going to add that around the top here. Just kind of pinching it, kind of getting it grouped a little bit better together. That way when I glue it down, I've got a little more surface. And then I'm just going to put some glue along the edge here and then apply that shredded raffia. I think I'm just going to go ahead and put it all along the top instead of just on the edge. Before I add any more, I'm just going to kind of trim off some of these crazy pieces. See how it looks. All right, I think that is so cute. That is adorable. It's going to make a very cute tier tray decoration. I've got some of these acrylic mini flowers that I picked up from Hobby Lobby Spring Shop. They were $2.49 plus 40% off. But yeah, I'm going to put some of these flowers in this shredded raffia thing I've got going on. Oh my goodness. All right, and this one is complete. It's so pretty. I love it. Adding those flowers just made it feel more springtime. And if anybody knows what this shredded raffia is called, then let me know down in the comments below. I'd really like to know. All right, this next one is going to be very easy also. I printed out on some tissue paper this image off of Cricut Design Space. It just says Happy Easter. And I've got a 5x5 little frame here, wood frame. And I'm going to go ahead and paint this white. And I'll just be using the Rust-Oleum linen white. And then once again, I'm going to go ahead and put some Mod Podge all over this. And then I'll once again use my heat gun to dry it. All right, take this image. We're going to just take our parchment paper again and place that over, and then use our heat press and reactivate that Mod Podge. And then we'll sand off the edges once again. And then we're just going to take that Mod Podge and seal over it. And once again, I'm just going to go ahead and distress it using the antiquing wax. And I started out with my softer bristle chip brush and just kind of realized it wasn't giving me a dark enough distress. So I changed it up and went to my smaller, stiffer bristle brush just to bring out the dark antiquing around the edges. And then I'll just go back to that softer brush and just brush over the image on the front and then along the edges or the sides. Okay, I've got some of these little mini paper flowers I found in the spring shop, and I'm going to use a few of those. I got this at Hobby Lobby, $3.99 plus 40% off. But I'm just going to place these kind of on the crown of her head. Kind of just like so. All right, and I am just going to use some hot glue. gives it a little something extra. What do you guys think about that? Okay, so I have got this sign from the Dollar Tree. It was back in the fall. And then I've got some of these little Easter bunnies from the Dollar Tree. I've got this little cotton bunny tail. We're going to make those over. I'm going to start by removing this. Let's see, I've got this scrapbook paper I had picked up from Hobby Lobby. It's got some beautiful spring prints in here. It's called the Vintage Floral, and it was only $12.99 plus 40% off when I got it. So I think that was an excellent price. I believe I'm going to go with this one right here. And I'm going to cut on the inside of that line. I know it's going to need to be smaller. And after trying to freehand cut the image, I just could not get my line straight enough. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this trimmer. All right, to glue that in, I am just going to use some matte Mod Podge. And then I'm just going to put some Mod Podge over the top of it. All right, and then that's going to need to dry. And we'll just set that aside. And I think 3 will do it. And then I'm just going to take some Spanish moss, and I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue that at the bottom of this. And then I'm just going to trim off some of those flyaways. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some reindeer moss, and I'm just going to glue that on top of that Spanish moss, just giving it a little bit of greenery. And now I'm just going to figure out the placement of these 3 little bunnies, and I'm just going to set them as you'll see here. And then I'll just use some hot glue to adhere them. And because I just love distressing everything apparently, I'm just going to take some fluff from Dixie Belle, and I'm just going to go over the frame, and I'm just going to stress it up. And you can most definitely skip this part. As a matter of fact, you can skip any distressing you please. You can paint the frame any color you want. You just do you. And then I just felt like it needed something else, so I'm going to take these acrylic flowers and I am going to hot glue them on top of the moss. And then I've got these florals from Dollar Tree, my absolute favorites. And I'm just going to trim off some of the stems. And I end up just using 2 of the stems. And I'm just going to make a little swag to put on the top. And once I get those trimmed, I'm going to take some twine and just wrap it around the center. And when I wrap around the center, I always leave a tail in the beginning. That way, as I wrap to one end, I can wrap back to where I began, and then I can just tie it off instead of using any additional hot glue. And then we'll just hot glue that to the top. And then this one is all complete. What do you guys think about this one? Okay, so this one, what is a tier tray without a little flower pot? So I've got the mini one from Dollar Tree. I've got some lavender picks from Walmart. And then I've got some foam. And we're not going to need all this, but I just wanted to share with everybody. You get 6 foam blocks in this package for only $5. Way cheaper than the Dollar Tree if you were to buy them individually for $1.25 each. I mean, that's over $7. So you're saving $2 roughly. Just doing math in my head. Not very good at it. But for, like I said, for $5, and this is at Hobby Lobby. So definitely the better bargain is at Hobby Lobby for your foam. And I probably should have painted it before I did that, but you know, sometimes I don't think ahead. But I am going to go ahead and paint this, and I'm going to paint it in truffle. All right, and then I'm just going to distress over it with the Dixie Belle fluff. And I believe I'm going to do a heavier distressing on this. So I'm going to leave more paint on my brush than I normally do when I distress. And then using the same brush, I'm just going to go ahead and take some more of that truffle, and I'm just going to go over the fluff that I put on there. And I just think it makes it look so much better. All right, I'm just going to let that dry. All right, and I'm just going to take some of these lavender picks and stick them in there. And I ended up using 4 of the stems off of that lavender pick. I think I'm just going to put some reindeer moss in there. Okay, and I'm just going to take some twine, and I'm just going to make me a little bow. So I'll wrap it around 3 fingers. About 15 times. And I just take the 2 ends, and I just wrap it around the center. Just going to tie that real tight. And then I'm just going to glue it right below the lip of the pot. Trim off the tubes. Use my lighter. Try not to catch it on fire. And there you go. Real pretty lavender pot. On this one, I'm just going to take one of these bunnies. I believe I got these from Hobby Lobby. I don't think it was the Dollar Tree, but either way, I'm just going to use one of them. And then I've got some of this beaded garland that I had picked up from the Dollar Tree. And I still have a strand left that I'm trying to use up, which I will be using up on this project. And I'm just going to fill that hole with some spackle. And while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and work on these beads. And I'm going to first remove the beads from the twine. And then I'm just going to take half of them and put them on a bamboo skewer stick. And then I'll take the other half and put on a second bamboo skewer stick, which ended up being like 12 on one and 13 on the other. And on one set, I'm going to go ahead and paint them in this light lavender from Folk Art. And on the other set, I'm going to use linen white from Rust-Oleum. And for the bunny, I'm just going to take my gel stain in walnut from Americana. And I'm just going to do a section and then wipe it off. And then do another section, wipe it off. I just want that grain, that wood grain, to show through. And then I'm also going to do the back side. And then I'm going to take this tool called the Crocodile, and I'm just going to create a new hole so we can put our beads through. And it's kind of closer to the tail. And I'm just going to cut off a pretty long piece of jute twine and fold it over. You can put the folded part through the hole and then just pull the strands through that loop and then tighten. And then on these, I'm just going to put some tape around it. And then on the pattern, I'm just doing 2 of one color and then 2 of the other color. And then I'm just going to do that back and forth until I have them all on the twine. And you just make this as long as you want it. I'm just going to tie that in a knot, securing them in place. And then I'll just trim off the excess. And let me know in the comments what you think about the final tier tray, which will be coming up here in just a moment. We'll take some of these paper mini flowers. Okay, we're just going to take some hot glue, just a dab. And I'm going to put it right there. All right, easy peasy simple.